Hi everyone, this is Kerem Baran with Solar Academy. Today I have with me Josh Schlipp from IV Energy, and we're going to talk all about IV Energy, which is doing something revolutionary. This is a special company for me because I have been aware of IV for close to 4 years, and I have been a early investor and a board member at the company for over 2.5 years at this point. Ivy is doing something revolutionary in the solar space, especially in the American market, because it is enabling multifamily properties to go solar. And it is unlocking what has always been known as the split incentive problem between landlords and tenants, and which has been one of the major roadblocks for apartment buildings going solar. And Josh is their senior VP of business development, and he's going to tell us all about Ivy, its history, its story, how it started, what it's doing, and how it's solving this major problem of apartment buildings and multifamily properties and multi-unit properties going solar. And so, with that, Josh, good to have you. Thanks for joining. And where shall we start? Shall we start maybe with the origins of Ivy and a little bit of your story and how the two merge, and then dive into the topics?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the my background kind of is probably a good starting point, and then kind of I can explain
Yeah,
how it kind of merged into Ivy here, and give you a
yeah,
little background of Ivy and how this idea really got started and how we've grown this business. So, uh,
yeah.
no, I've actually been in clean tech in some capacity for my entire career. I actually got started on the policy side, working in renewable energy policy in Washington D.C. throughout my 20s, and right around the time when building performance and solar started becoming really economically viable as a business model, I transitioned into solar about 15 years ago or so. Really, cut my teeth in residential solar, bootstrapping residential solar startups for quite a few years. Went through a few different acquisitions. I've also worked for the likes of like Sunrun, for instance, obviously a large player in the publicly traded company. But for most of the time, I've spent bootstrapping companies, and that runs the gamut from residential companies, origination companies. I was
And you
involved.
did Repower too. Repower was a
Yeah,
very unique player. I
a
remember that back
franchise
in,
model. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
The first. I don't
Which
think we
was all
all.
about
I think
like
somebody else is actually.
bringing in contractors, educating them to do solar, essentially, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So a
Yeah,
lot of that was like really training local like electrical contractors, entrepreneurs on how to build a solar business and build out a model that was replicable. That was
sure.
a really fun experience. Interesting enough, that's actually where I met Dover Janis, who's the
That's
co-founder
it. Yeah,
CEO
yeah,
of Ivy.
yeah.
Yeah, and then I've other experiences. I worked for a solar manufacturer, building out product strategies here in the US and bringing inverters and modules and batteries to market. But kind of getting back to how Ivy was started, as I mentioned, I've known Dover for quite a few years, and Dover, like me, got his started in residential solar, and he was
Yeah,
transitioning and into commercial solar, and in that
yeah.
process, he met up, was introduced to Logan Carter, who's our other co-founder and chief operating or chief commercial officer, I'm sorry. And when they were looking at what they were going to do in their strategy, they really noticed that there was this gap in the commercial, let's say commercial and residential solar space, which is multifamily and multi-unit commercial buildings just weren't going solar. And